Well, your name has been on people's minds for a long, long time, obviously as a DJ, but now your name's sort of becoming associated with a lot of clothing brands. You had a recent work endeavor with Undefeated Clothing and Michael Jackson. Can you tell us how that project sort of came to be and sort of what happened? I've heard some various stories about what happened.
Well, I ended up hooking up with Undefeated and doing a Michael Jackson mixtape just as a tribute to MJ after he passed. And you know, some people kind of got a little mad, so we kind of had to shut it down. But you know, it was all for the love of Michael Jackson. So
Obviously, obviously. A lot of the things I read about that mixtape is that you sort of brought a unique style to the way people heard and in order of Michael Jackson's music. You brought a unique style. If you were to describe your style as a performance DJ, how would you describe it?
a journey. Journey. You know, I just think as a DJ, what you want to do is take people on a musical journey. You got, if you have a 2-hour time, you know, you kind of want to take them places in that 2 hours. You know, I think a lot of people think that for the entire 2 hours it needs to be fever pitch, and you know, I don't know anybody that can stand a fever pitch, you know, set for 2 hours.
Sure.
So you kind of, you know, got, you know, it has, you know, ebbs and flows. So, you know, you take them there and you give them a little break. You take them there, give them a little break. Take them there, give them a little break.
Right.
So it's a journey.
Well, DJ has obviously changed a lot with, you know, the advancement of technology. Serato, obviously, Scratch Live, Ableton. If there's one element of DJing that you hope all the younger DJs, all the DJs that are coming out now, take from the traditional form of DJing, so your style, what would you hope that one element that people carry on is?
Wow, that's a great question.
You heard that here. You heard that here. I just want to make sure.
Question.
All right.
You know, I think that the advancement of Serato has definitely saved the DJ culture, because you know, being a record collector, you know, you started to see that record companies weren't pressing records up like they were. And you know, my biggest fear is that when they stop pressing records up, then you know, a real DJ who uses turntables, not that the guys who use CDs aren't, but you know, the person who uses turntables is going to have problems finding vinyl. So basically what Serato did is allowed you to keep the use of vinyl with digital material. I think more than anything, you know, that's pretty much it. You know, I know that a lot of the new generation of kids coming out now have never played a vinyl record in their life. You know, so they don't understand. And I'm not one of those guys like, oh, you know, you should be playing vinyl or you should have played vinyl. You know, you can't really fault somebody for what era they came up in. But I just think that, you know, the essence of DJing, you know, is touching the vinyl, using the vinyl, not just using the computer and staring at the computer.
I'm a CD DJ, so I mean, you know, I kind of feel you, but you know.
No, but you see a lot of guys now that will use Serato and all they do is stare at the computer.
Absolutely.
You know, it's kind of like the computer's where your records are. You know, computer's your record box. When you had a crate of records, you didn't grab that record out the crate and stare at the crate while you were DJing. So stop staring at the computer.
Yeah. There's a big vinyl DJ in our town that's now making the switch to Serato. It's pretty funny seeing him play. Every time he makes a transition, he takes the record, the arm record off, and looks, and he's like, oh.
I was one of them that took it off and just put it back on. And you know, sometimes you took it off, played it off, and flipped it on the other side.
Oh, there you go.
You know.
Now you know you're a true vinyl DJ. Well, what is the best part about being a DJ?
I think, well, for me, I think it's just making people have a good time. You know, I enjoy playing. You know, I'm not one of those guys that, you know, are frustrated. You know, I think I look at DJing just like professional basketball players look at basketball. You play it for free. You know, I'll DJ until the day I die. You know, just for the love of it.
Wow. What's the worst part about being a DJ then?
Sometimes the traveling. You know, sometimes the traveling will really beat your body down. And then it's playing in some of these crazy ass commercial clubs that they want to hear the same record 19 times. You know, I could do without that.
Okay.
I try to avoid those.
Well, when you think about the non-commercial clubs you've played in or the festivals you've played in, what's the craziest event you've done where you said, wow, I really got to do what I wanted to do. I got to do what I started DJing for.
Well, you know, it's crazy. I've been fortunate to 90% of the spots that I play, I get to do what I want to do. You know, and I don't, you know, and trust me, I don't mind playing in the commercial clubs. I like playing in the commercial clubs that I can pretty much play whatever I want, you know, because they just want to party. You know, I don't really like playing in the clubs that they want to hear Young Jeezy 15 times in a row. You know, so, and it's not that I don't like Young Jeezy. I just only want to play him once if I have to.
This is not a beef interview.
Yeah,
it's not a beef interview.
You know,
Jazzy Jeff Enterprises is not responsible for the rights contained.
You know. But you know, so I think, you know, just being fortunate enough to be able to play in a lot of venues and play a lot of the spots. You know, I spent a lot of time overseas where I really think that people are a lot more musically open. So you pretty much get to play some funk and soul and hip-hop and some house and some disco and just, you know.
Yeah, you have some house CDs that people don't really know about. Crazy, crazy. Well, you made a comment, actually, earlier in this interview that you'll be playing records till the day you died. DJ AM, rest in peace, when he died, there were a number of tribute shows. God forbid, Jazzy Jeff dies tomorrow. Who would you want on a tribute bill for DJ Jazzy Jeff?
Me.
You.
Yes.
Return from the grave. The return of the magnificent.
Me. I don't want a tribute show.
No? No. If you were to put together like an all-star lineup of people you enjoy seeing playing, who would you want to see?
I mean, that list would be too long.
Yeah.
That'd be too long. You know what? I think first and foremost, I'm a DJ fan.
Okay.
You know, I've always been a DJ fan. That's why I've never been really into the competitions, you know, because I get a kick out of looking at other DJs and, you know, seeing stuff that they may do and ways that they may play stuff, you know.
Well, who are some young DJs now that you're really excited about? There's a lot of talk that when you, Riz, Scissorhands, a lot of the old school cats, when they stop, there's going to be this new generation of just Serato only DJs. Who are some DJs now coming up that you're really excited about?
You know, that's kind of hard too. You know, unfortunately, I don't really follow a lot of guys. You know, it's kind of like when I see somebody, it's kind of like, oh, wow, you know, they're really good. But it's funny because, you know, like guys like A-Track, you know, you can't really consider him a young DJ. You know, he's been DJing since he was 12. Yeah. You know, and he's got a beard now, so it's, you know. I mean, you know, I think the main thing is just, you know, if the new generation can kind of carry the torch, you know, kind of like the older guys. You know, I think guys like Riz and Scissorhands, you know, are great examples for a lot of DJs that are coming on now. You know.
Okay. Well, you do an incredible job of educating people on music that took place 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. What are some songs you hear now that you think people will be playing 20 years from now in the club? Is there anything that you think that has the staying power to sort of be relevant?
I can't really answer that one.
Really? Nothing that you hear now? You're like,
well, I mean, and I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying that I don't think what someone is going to play 20 years ago has to do with if a record is good or bad or not. I think, you know, a big reason of why a lot of DJs, you know, a lot of DJs have a tendency of grabbing classics and playing them is because there's not enough new classics. And I think the reason why it's not enough new classics, I think that there are, but I think what happens if the radio station is the way that we receive these new classics, then we're at the mercy of whatever they play. So there's probably a whole bunch of new classics that we just don't get a chance to hear.
Support non-commercial radio.
You know, so I mean, it's just, I mean, I don't even think it's not necessarily supporting non-commercial radio. I think it's just, you know, I would love to see an open format on a radio station that is not about playing the same 20 records. I would love to see people have an opinion. I just think, you know, you turn back the clock 20 years ago, you would go to Pittsburgh and you got a chance to hear the popular music, but you got a chance to hear the flavor of Pittsburgh. You go to Philly, you heard the flavor of Philly. You heard the flavor of DC. When you went to DC, you got some go-go music because that was their flavor as well. You know, and I just think now it's kind of like you can drive from one end of the country to the other and you hear the exact same thing. And it's kind of like, you know, you want, you know what I mean? Like that's what kind of kept music alive, you know, of hearing that record in DC that they didn't play in Philly, and you bringing it up and you playing it and educating them to something new. I think, you know, radio has really, really killed music.